Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Saving Sunderland. Now, we've got our last two fixtures of this Premier League season against Manchester City and Brentford to play today. We've also got two fixtures to review after that crushing defeat to Tottenham Hotspur in the FA Cup semi-final. And we'll also go through some of the players, how they've improved. We'll have a look at the attributes and see how we might shape up next season. So of course, when we last met, it was that Tottenham Hotspur game in the FA Cup. We followed that up with a 2-1 away victory to Leicester. We were very lucky in this game. They had a lot of chances to put away, but they were wasteful in their opportunities whilst we took ours when they came about. Goals through Alisson and Rasmus Christensen giving us the win. And then a disappointing home draw to Stoke City. This was a game of very few highlights, very few chances, and upon reflection we should have probably put some of ours away. We did have a good number of chances, but we couldn't finish our dinner. The draw 0-0 at home. The season's pretty much done for us anyway, so I'm not too disappointed. And all of that leaves us sitting in 7th in the Premier League table, 2 points behind Spurs, who have got a game in hand in 6th, and 4 points behind Watford in 5th, which means it's probably unlikely that we're going to get Europa League football next season. So we've got our first game up against Manchester City at the Etihad. We'll start with Reykjavik in goal, Rios, Vidaska and Montes at centre-back, Pizzella and Christensen on the wing-backs, Guendouzi, Koulibaly centre, Kazri and Watmore on the wings, and Alisson play up top. So we'll kick off against Manchester City, shooting from right to left. Let's see if we can do the business. Highlight here, Manchester City on this left-hand side, they're in a very good position to possibly score, but De Bruyne puts it wide. Icardi picks up the ball in the centre now to De Bruyne, to Gundogan. What can they do? We're marking our men well, but Bernardo Silva finds some space. He cuts in from that right-hand side and puts it wide. Some interesting transfers for Manchester City. They've got Hector Bellerin at right back, Jordi Alba at left back, Rafa Varane's playing in the defensive midfielder role, and Mauro Icardi up top. Highlight, just before the end of the first half, De Bruyne tackles play, but Watmore gets there first. Can he get the ball in? He plays it back to Christensen, and Sané tackles. This is going to be a Manchester United counter. Icardi fights Bernardo Silva on his right hand side. Can he get a good ball in? He can. Icardi finishes far post. That's come from our own attack, losing the ball high up the pitch. Unfortunate. As you can see, Icardi strides forward. He finds Bernardo Silva on this right hand side. He carries the ball. Excellent first touch. Beats his man, and Icardi puts it past Reykjavik. Half time, 1-0 Manchester City. They've got a great team. I'm not too fussed about it. Our players are playing okay. We're not getting stuffed, so we'll kick off this second half and see if we can do something. Highlight here, Duncan Watmore gets dispossessed by Jordi Alba. Leroy Sané plays it through for Icardi. He's got his beating of his man, and he's got the beating of Reykjavik. 2-0 Manchester City. Duncan Watmore loses out to Jordi Alba here. De Bruyne with an excellent pass to Sané. What a through ball that was. Icardi beats his man and just slots it away. We'll make some changes. We'll get Joel Abu Hanna on for one of his very rare appearances. We'll get Emil Krath on for Christensen, and we'll leave it at that for now. Highlight, Abu Hanna with a throw into Guendouzi to Koulibaly to play, but John Stones cuts it out. Stepanenko can break for Manchester City here. Icardi brings it down, lovely through ball to Bernardo Silva on this right hand side. He cuts inside, Reykjavik with a big save. The game's just pottering out here, but there's one final highlight. Corner to Manchester City's played in by Bernardo Silva. It comes back out to him here. Crosses it in, Rafa Varane's there. Ike Gundogan can pick up the loose ball. Are Manchester City going to make something of this? Varane on the edge of the box to John Stones to Bernardo Silva with a good shot, but just wide. And with 3 seconds to remain, that's probably going to be it. Manchester City 2, Sunderland 0. After that result sees us slip to 9th in the Premier League table. We do have Brentford at home in the final game, who are actually bottom of the league, so hopefully we can get a win and get as high up as possible. So we'll line up like this against Brighton, much the same side that played Manchester City, but Enzo Cabrera comes in for Wabi Kazri and Harley Johnson comes in for Koulibaly. And we'll kick off against Brighton, shooting left to right. Let's hope we can get a home win to finish this season. Highlight, Vidaska with the ball. Free kick to us, Pizzella on this left hand side. Can he play down Cabrera to Johnson? Johnson to Guendouzi. Play, edge of the box, plays it to Christensen. It gets bobbled about and looks like it could be a Brighton counter-attack. Pukki on this right-hand side. Cabrera nips in. He sends play away down this left flank. He gets into the box. He crosses it in for Duncan Watmore, who makes it 1-0. Great play by Cabrera to nip in for that ball. He sends away Alisson player down this left-hand flank. He gets inside the box, does really well to beat his man, gets a cross in. Duncan Watmore slots in front. 1-0. Highlight, corner to us. Rios. Oh, it's a goal. Cabrera with the ball in, a flick on by Montes, and it's in the back of the net. As you can see, Cabrera with the corner. The centre-backs combine, and that makes it 2-0. And we start the second half in a comfortable position. I'm not expecting too much happening in the rest of this game. Highlight here, Pugh has it on the left hand side for Brighton, towards to Lawrence. He knocks it forward to Pookie. Back to Lawrence, back to Woods. They're playing some nice stuff, Brighton. Woods to Lawrence. Big challenge by Rios. He sends away Alisson play with a long ball over the top. Can he finish? He can. It's 3-0 Sunderland. And it's all a bit too easy. As you can see, Brighton were keeping good possession, but one sloppy mistake. Rios gets in, punts the ball over the top. Alisson play does well to beat his man. And an absolutely brilliant finish. 3-0. Highlight here. Guendouzi with the ball in. It's out to Pizzella. He can get the ball back in. Back post to Cabrera. Oh, he takes his time. He somehow beats the goalkeeper from very, very close range. Guendouzi plays the ball in. Pizzella knocks it back in, back post. Cabrera takes it down. He has all the time in the world and he absolutely smashes it. The keeper can't do anything. 4-0. Seeing as it's the last game of the season, I'm going to get some people on who might not be here next season. We'll get Varela on for Pizzella. We'll get Tawanzabi on for Diogo Vadasca. And we'll get Mason Holgate on for Cesar Montes. Highlight here, Johnson picks out play in the centre. Can he do anything? Cabrera on this left hand side to Guendouzi to Watmore. Looks like it's going to be a penalty. Alisson play will take it to try and... Has he on 2 goals? He might only be on 1. It is Alisson play to step up. Puts it away. That's 5-0. A very comfortable game so far. That's the 20th goal of the season for Alisson play. Probably somewhat off last season's total, but he's done the business. 5-0. 30 seconds left. Guendouzi has the ball on the edge of the box. Bielan clears and they can break. Henry knocks it through to Lawrence. He's through on goal here. Can he finish? Reykjavik with a big save. Tom Lawrence with the ball. He crosses it in. We clear. That's going to be full time. And that is the end of our 3rd season. We finish off with a great victory. 5-0 against bottom of the league Brentford. We'll take it. As you can see, with that victory, it sees us finish in 7th place on 57 points. Somewhere off last season's total, but we always knew it was going to be difficult to match what we managed to achieve last season. We got in a lot of new young players who needed time to bed in and grow, and after the start we had, I was honestly expecting a relegation fight, but we've come up. We finished 7th, I'll take it. So now that the season is over, I'll just go through some of the players, some of whom will stay and some of whom will be moved on in the summer transfer window. So we've got Francisco Trincao, who has improved a lot in terms of his attributes this season. Even though he's had 2 pretty serious injuries, he's still out for another 7 days with a twisted ankle. Hopefully he can get himself back fit for next season and he will probably be a starter. And as you can see here, he started 18 games in the Premier League. He scored 7 goals and got himself 5 assists with an average rating of 7.15. Next up, it's Duncan Watmore, the man, the myth, the legend. He's still performing excellently for us despite his limited stats. He's worth 28.5 million, which is absolutely crazy. And every time there's an England squad announcement, it's always asking me whether I believe Duncan Watmore deserves a call. And I definitely do. So hopefully someday we'll see England international for Duncan Watmore. A very much more quiet season this season. He got 20 appearances with 3 goals and 6 assists. He still did well, particularly in the Champions League where he got 3 goals and 3 assists in 8 games. But as you can see, it's quite a way off from last season's 20 goals and 16 assists in 35 games. Wabi Kazri, another one of the stars from last season, struggled this season with injuries and for form. He started 15 times in the Premier League, got himself 4 goals and 1 assist. As you can see from his attributes, he is declining as a footballer, and at the age of 29, I might have to look to move him on in the summer. Next up, it's Harley Johnson, one of our breakout stars of the season, I would say. He's improving a lot as a footballer. His attributes are really improving. He's classed as a wonder kid. He's English. He only cost us 9.5 million. I was really pleased with the signing. And as you can see, he started 17 games in the Premier League, coming on 11 times as well, scoring 5 goals and 2 assists. And now he is an excellent free kick taker, so he's got that in his locker. You will see more from him next season. Next up is Luis Enrique Aranz. I didn't get this boy enough game time this season. I think if we'd had a good season compared to what last season had, he would have got more. I would have been able to rotate more and give him more game time. But unfortunately, it wasn't the case this season. He has improved quite a lot as a footballer. He's currently a 3-star striker. We'll see more from him next season if he remains at the club. He might get loaned out to get him the guaranteed game time depending on signings coming in. Next up we have Erasmus. He's an excellent right wing back. He's been solid for us all season, averaging just below a 7 in the Premier League, but he's just a jack of all trades, master of none type kind of player. He's been incredibly versatile. He's played on the left, he's played in the centre, he's played in D mid, He's been all over the place. So I'm really happy to keep this boy at the club. Maybe bring in someone who can compete with him for that right wing back spot. But if we don't manage to get him in, I'm happy for him to be my first choice. Enzo Cabrera has improved a lot this season. His attributes have definitely risen compared to when we first signed him. Of course, if you remember, we signed him on a free from Argentina. And as you can see by his stats, he started 22 games in the Premier League this season, getting himself 8 substitute appearances. Also, 6 goals and 6 assists. Not too bad. I would say his season is about par. He will be in the squad next season. Whether he'll be a starter or not, probably not. Next up is Cesar Montes, our centre-back that we signed from Mexico. Of course, we signed him for 8.75 million from Monterrey in the summer. And his stats have improved this season and he's pretty much filled out his potential. This is the centre-back we have. It's unlikely he's going to make any drastic changes going from here. So it's very likely he'll be a starter next season. He's probably been our key defender all season. I'm going to very briefly talk about Axel Tuanzebe. He's another one who's been hit by our poor form, because if we were performing better, I would have definitely given him more game time. That's why I put him out for loan. He probably will go on loan next season, if not being sold by the club. Rajkovic continues to improve. He's played all 38 games of the Premier League this season. It's unlikely I'll look for another keeper in the summer. Giuseppe Pizzella's sort of completing his potential a little bit. It still says he's got a little bit room to grow, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the finished article. And similarly to Rasmus Nissen Christensen, I'm more than happy for this guy to be our first choice, but I will be looking to improve the competition in that position. Diogo Verdasca, one of our first signings in the Premier League when we came up, he's completed 32 games in the Premier League this season, performed pretty well, 6.88. It's not absolutely fantastic, but for a centre-half, it's not too bad. And in terms of his stats, he's still got the right stats in the key areas, and he's pretty physical as well, which is what I like about the guy. He might be a squad option next season, depending on what we do in the summer, but we'll see what happens. Mauricio Lemos is in pretty much the same boat as Diogo Verdasca. His stats are solid, but if we can get improvements, I'll definitely bring them in. Pua Santi Comasana, one of our stars of the first seasons, found himself with limited game time because of the signings we made in the summer. I might try and move him on to get some money back in, but if he's happy to stay, I'm happy to keep him. Probably one of my most disappointing signings of the summer was signing Matteo Guendouzi on a free. He averaged a 6.92 over 27 games in the Premier League, but I expected more from this guy. And the same could be said about Mamadou Koulibaly, 29 games in the Premier League, 6.85 average rating. Not good enough from the two centre-mids who I thought were worldies when we signed them. Hopefully they'll continue to improve, and hopefully they will make me eat my words. Matteo Rios, of course, was a centre-back we signed in January. He's continued to improve lovely. He played 18 games since he's joined with an average rating of 6.88 in the Premier League. I'm going to be giving this boy more game time because I think he's an excellent central defender. And funnily enough, he can play attacker midfielder apparently. That's not happening. And last but by no means least is Moise Kean, who did not make a competitive start for Sunderland because he couldn't. You'll definitely see more of this guy next season. It'll either be on the left wing or up front. We'll see, but he definitely will be a starter. So that's the season over. A quick review of how we went in all the competitions we were in. We were knocked out in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup by West Ham. We were knocked out in the semi-final of the FA Cup for a second season running against Tottenham Hotspur. We were knocked out of the Champions League in the quarterfinals by Manchester United, and we finished 7th in the Premier League. Just to finish off this video, we'll go through some of the end of season awards. Alassane Plea got Fans Player of the Season. Actually didn't talk about Alassane Plea. He got 15 goals in 29 games with 7 assists in the Premier League, averaging a 7.15 average rating. And he's another one who I'm happy to be my first choice next season, but if I can find someone to compete with him, I'm going to bring them in. Alassane Plea got goal of the season. Let's take a look. So you can see here, Kaz replays is down to play on this left-hand side. I remember this goal. It was a great solo effort, and it came just after I was absolutely slamming him for missing a lot of chances. It was a great goal. Can't take anything away from the lad. I'm pleased for him. Signing of the season was, of course, Harley Johnson from West Brom, and young player of the season was Francisco Trincao. And that's going to be it from me. That's completing a very, very tough second season in the Premier League for Sunderland. Now, I'm hoping with the changes that we'll make in the summer and the changes that we made last summer will start to come into fruition, and we might start challenging for the Champions League spots again. You never know, it might happen. But anyway, if you've enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, and if you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing. But until next time, take it easy. And if you're kind enough to stay to the very end, you can see this spoiler. We've got 151 million to spend in the summer. Happy days.